Dober večer. A se slišimo? Halo? Ja. Nekaterim se mudi, pa bomo hitro začeli. Bomo pa še malo meskaj klepetali. So, good evening. We will start international LGBT reading of poetry prose. And because some people are in hurry, I will ask as soon as possible Anna Dragičević. She will read only in Slovenian, and she's still waiting for the translations and for the first book of poetry.
A tako? Ko čuden. Hello. Mislim, živa. So for all of you who will not understand, I mean, learn the language. Za tiste, ki pa veste, mislim, ki boste razumeli, kaj berem, bom brala iz kmalu izšle knjige. Grem, vsekakor grem, stopam, slišim, grem, po župi, hodim po župi, plavam, zmorem, ne plavam, a grem. Grem, med flokusi grem, med istmusi grem, po nesreči, ponovno, potratno, grem, gotovo grem, slišim rajo, grem, nikjer, nikogar, kakšen čudež, slišim rajo, obrat, grem. Grem, slišim zdrava, slišim Marija, nisem Marija, koga le kliče, kaj vendar stoka, slišim posilmo, grem sama, grem nikdar sama, grem, mrazotna mrcina, grem, slišim pridi, slišim nočem, pridi, nočem, grem, slišim res, slišim bom, slišim nočem, bom, ob steno, ob vrata, kredenco, polico, slišim ne, slišim jo mlatijo, slišim bom. To je del pesmi ali pa ne? Kje smo ostali? Bom! Jo suva, izgine, jo slišim, loputa, povsod dron, povsod noise, evo umetnosti, gotovo slišim, gotovo grem, slišim, torej verjetno grem. Grem, se obujem, se oblečem, se pravi, se zavijem, obtežim, grem ven, ne morem, grem, zastajam, postajam, grem do vogala, zastanem, obstanem, se obrnem, zastanem, se obrnem, postanem, skupaj tiščim, veke se parijo, še se drgnejo, dražijo, še bolj, stiskajo, mečkajo, ovijajo navznoter, gledam predse, korak nazaj se obrnem, pomislim skupaj in sam posmeh me je, se prenesem, obrnem, zasukam, stopim, grem nazaj, stopim, se obrnem, grem domov, se obrnem, v mesto grem, ne grem, nekaj pravi naj ne nekaj, nekdo, saj res nekdo, torej nekaj, ne nekaj, nekdo, prav, nekdo si pravim ne pojdi, kaj le mi je, vem, kaj mi je, ko pomislim, kaj vse se lahko zgodi in se tudi bo. Piše mi ljubav, reče greva, ves čas hoče greva, reče greva, hoče nekam ljubav, preganja, vrsto let hodi dol in se pelje gor, ko jo tako preganja, reče ljubi me brzo, hodi počasi, hodim od kavča do stola, ko piše ljubav, grem po čik, mi praviloma pade na tla, zrem in si mislim, bi ga pobrala, kdo ve, kaj vse sem že požrla, pa sem še kar, vidi me sad, nočem umret, zato nekoč bo še fina vojna, kaj le bom, če zmagam. Ako piše ljubav, ako kliče ljubav, se javim, ker njen klic pomeni, da je še živa. Ljubav reče, kaj počneš, rečem pišem, reče o čem, ljubav mojstrica nemogočih vprašanj. Odgovarjam, kaj naj, reče kaj naj, rečem pišem, kaj naj, reče kaj boš, rečem nič, reče kaj lahko, rečem kaj naj, reče kar zmoreš, rečem nič, reče greva. Pretirano me skrbi, ali je živa, ko tako ustrajam, da nikogar ni, predvsem neživih, drugih pa kolikor hočeš, a nočem, a komu mar. Preložim na kadar pač že, rečem pišem o odhajanju, stenah, prisežem, da sem srečala Haushofer, njena stena en sam nateg, le ljubi se in ne, meni pa tudi ne, ljubim te. Rečem šlabi, pišem šlabi, zastanem in potem kam le. Razpredam, torej grem, rečem šlabi, reče kam le, rečem šlabi, reče z mano, rečem nič. Šlabi in komaj čakam, da pride. Dalje rečem, razmišljam na glas, da je ne bi skrbelo, da nisem živa, pa še kako. Rečem, kako nas je Wolf vse skupaj do konca zjebala s tisto sobo. Ni pa povedala, kdo jo je zgradil, ni pa povedala, koliko sob je imela, gotovo pa ni povedala, da gotovo ni bila tu, kaj šele zdaj. Ko me zanese, me zaskrbi, kaj lej govorim, ko govorim, ne vem, ali je živa, se potegnem za uzde, rečem, te to sploh zanima, jo pa še kako. Govoriva le še med seboj, udar je opravil svoje, zjutraj greva spat. Rečem, kaj pa ti počneš, reče, te to sploh zanima, naju seveda vse, a povsem poprimljava obči anti-interes. Zanima naju seveda, kar rečeva, a nobena ne ve, koliko bo še druga živa. Vrčujeva čas in porabiva ga, da se vprašava, ali naju zanima. Reče, pišeš o odhajanju, rečem da, reče vem, reče prinesem Sheparda, reče Shepard kavboj vedno gre, reče Patti Smith, reče kavboj, reče ljubav, Jessica Lange, reče kavboj, reče ljubav. Še kar sva tu, že celo večnost sediva in govoriva, že pol ure kam, reče pridi k meni, greva k meni, sediva pri meni, leživa pri meni in sprašujeva se kam, reče pridi k meni, pride k meni. Ljubav se ne sprašuje kam, tu je in izigrava sprijaznjenost. Reče, naredila sem, kar je bilo mogoče, si vrta glavo, tlači to lažbo. Reče, prinesem Sheparda, Shepard je šel, v avto odpeljal, po Ameriki spal v motelih. Shepard je šel, žal mi je, ko jo poslušam. Ljubav gledam ven na parking, kje je Shepard, kje je avto, ni, žal mi je. Ji ne povem, ni, zato kam le vedno pomeni tu. Pokončala jo bom ljubav, tako ali drugače, bodi si z razkritjem, spominjanjem, vedno znova, bodi si z molkom. Reče, povej, toliko te že poznam. Vej, kaj bom rekla, da bo končno povedala, da nima za živet. Upa, da ne bom, da bo rekla, da sva srečni. Ko reče, Kolet ni imela za živet, so pomagali frendi. Rečem, Ethel ni imela za živet, so pomagali frendi. Reče, vidiš, rečem, kaj? Reče, ko torej to laži. Ko šele mnogo kasneje reče, kakšen zločin.
So I need to tell that this event is part of the Go East International Conference on LGBTQ literature, which is the first such conference in Slovenia. And some of the readers today will also, will have tomorrow their lectures at this conference. Milan Dragičević will speak tomorrow about Sappho was not a poet. And our next poet is Nataša Velikonja. She will speak about lesbian poetry tradition tomorrow in the morning at Filozofska fakulteta, Faculty of Arts. Nataša Velikonja, she has a lot of poetry books, and I published her first poetry book, which was also the first explicit lesbian poetry book in Slovenia. And Kristina, can you come? Kristina. She will read the English translation. So Nataša will read Slovenian and Kristina will read English translation of the same short poems.
tisoče knjig. Lahko sem prisotna v neštetu pogovorih. Ja, sam je prižgan, ali ga to prvega.
Vse je prižgan.
Ja, sam se fuljač ne sliš. Pa ne smejo biti vsi prižgani. Zdaj upajmo, da bo boljš. Lahko živim 100 življenj in preberem tisoče knjig. Lahko sem prisotna v neštetu pogovorih, na teh planjavah nezavednega, bitk, dolgov, mešetarjen, zvijač, zamolčevan, zanikan, laži, o katerih se ti še sanjane. In vseeno je, ali sem tu vso večnost, ali sem tu prvi in edini in zadnji dan. Izmotavam se, misleč, da živim iz tega zločina, ki je prvo in edino in zadnje in vse življenje. In kot da sem brez atributov živega, vem na ničesar, torej, nič ne bom zapletala, a nikdar se ne pridruži ničemur. Nikdar ne ostajaj, na neki točki bo tirjala, kar ni njenega. Ona, pretenzija oblasti, pretenzija biti izvoljna točka. S tisočimi lastnimi imeni na neki točki bo rekla, vse je tu zaradi mene. Tudi jaz sem šla zgolj mimo in napisala par stavkov. In če je že bilo kaj zaradi nje, so to bili zgolj stavki, ki jih nisem napisala. Tudi zdaj jih bom napisala, kajti zdaj pišem popravek in tako bom zdaj napisala vse, kajti tale doba je bodisi anticivilizacija, bodisi njen katalizator. In v trenutku, ko prideš, zareži, uniči, prekini civilizacijo, ne pogleduj k vsem tistim s svetlobami na koncu tunelov, ne hodi tja, ne približuj se, ne pridržuj kot nek debilen civilizant. To je natek. Na koncu boš kriva, obtičala v očilni komori in ne boš več zatisnila oči in ne boš več vedela ničesar in ne boš več videla ničesar in predvsem ne boš več videla nikogar in ne boš več pobegnila pred to ljubeznijo. Venoma prežečo oblastjo izza slepečega žarometa, ki se zaenkrat še valja tam na loži s temi neprebranimi knjigami in pridiga. In ko se približaš, se skoti. In tale doba, v katero delimo kot potlačeni debeli, je predvsem odgovor, kot ga je sposobna. Oblast in žrtev obenem. In jaz ustavljam na ta mozaik, v katerem morajo biti elementi povsem njeni, kajti ta literatura, v katero investiramo življenja, da postane naše življenje, ve vse, ker je njeno vse, ker je ono vse, požira in čisti prostor, da prekrije svojo nezaceljivo nezadostnost, edini možen prostor. In to je to naokrog je njena posthigienizacijska samota, to njeno močeništvo je njen absolut. Ona je žrtev, ki je tvoja nesposobitev. Ona je žrtev, ki se celi z absolutom, ki je tvoj minus. Ona je odmerja do optimice, kajti ona je žrtev, ki je dobra oblast. In njena dobra dela so zločini in kriva sem jaz. Tudi jaz sem zgolj napisala par stavkov, mimo grede, ne vem, kam sem bila namenjena. Po tisti temi naprej, njo sem zgolj srečala tamle in za hip komunicirala, misleč, da živim, da sem v mimohodu. In potem tale z lastne imenom predsednice ugradi to moje mimohodno življenje v svoj mozaik in vzklika. Kako fino, da se sodeluješ. Toda jaz ne sodelujem, ne strinjam se z ničemer in vse povsod tistih debilnih socioloških zvalkih piše, oblast ne more ustvariti identifikacije. Lahko jo sicer skuša z represijo, toda pobegne ji. Kar je samo jebe napake, kaj ti oblast ne ustvarja identifikacije, kaj ne imajo, kdo si. Oblast ti začepi debilen mozaik, odkode ne moreš pobegniti in kjer potem toleriraš debilne koncepte, udalce, za katere ne veš, odkot prihajajo. In nihče ne pobegne, dokler se živo ne zgodi.
Okay, so this is excerpts from the book Too Polite, yes. And it's been translated by Barbara Jursha. Okay. A correction. I can live 100 lives and read thousands of books. I can be present in countless conversations on these planes of the unconscious, battles, debts, muddlements, ruses, concealments, denials, lies you don't even dream of. And it doesn't matter if I'm here for eternity, whether I'm here for the first and the only and the last day. I'm extricating myself, believing I'm living from this crime which is the first and the only and the last and a whole life, and it's as if I'm without any attributes of the living. I know nothing, therefore I'm not going to complicate anything. But don't you ever join anything. Don't stay. At some point she will demand what doesn't belong to her. She, the pretense of power, the pretense of being the point of origin, with thousands of proper names. At some point she will say, everything is here due to me. But I only walked by and wrote a few sentences, and if there was anything due to her, these were only the sentences I didn't write. But now I will write them down, because now I'm making a correction, and thus I will now write down everything, because this age is either an anti-civilization or its catalyst. And at the moment that you arrive, cut into, destroy, interrupt civilization, don't look towards all those lights at the end of the tunnels. Don't go there. Don't get closer, and don't join in like some moronic civilizer. This is a scam. In the end, you will get stuck in a torture chamber, guilty, and you won't close your eyes anymore, and you won't know anything, and you won't see anything, and most of all, you won't see anyone, and you won't be able to run away from this love anymore. Power, incessantly lurking from behind a blinding searchlight, which is for the time being still wallowing over there in a puddle with 3 unread books and preaching. And when you get closer, she gets born, and this age into which we stare as repressed morons is above all just the response she is capable of. Power and a victim simultaneously, and me inserted into this mosaic of hers in which the elements must be totally mute, because this creature into which we're investing our lives so that she becomes our life knows everything, because everything belongs to her, because she is everything. She devours and cleanses space to disguise her unhealable insufficiency, the only possible space. And what you find around here is her post-hygienization, solitude. This martyrdom of hers is her absolute. She is the victim, which is your incapacitating. She is the victim, which is healing herself with the absolute, which is your minus. She measures out crumbs because she is the victim, which is the good authority, and her good deeds are crimes, and the guilty one is me. But I have only written a few sentences in passing. I don't know where I was headed. Onwards through that darkness, I only encountered her over there, and for a moment I communicated, thinking that I'm living, that I'm passing by, and then this one with the proper name, President, installs this passing by life of mine into her mosaic and cheers. How wonderful that you participate. But I don't participate. I don't agree with anything. And in those moronic sociological concoctions you can read everywhere. Power cannot create identification, though it can attempt to do that through repression. But identity escapes power, which is the very essence of the mistake. For power doesn't create identification. And what does she care who you are? Power encloses you into a moronic mosaic from which you cannot escape, and where you then tolerate moronic concepts, the blows for which you don't know where they come from, and nobody escapes until the living collapses.
Thank you. Now I will invite our guest from UK, Gregory Woods. So Gregory Woods, it's not for the first time here. Today he was the keynote speaker at the conference, but he's also a poet, and he was here about 10 years ago at the presentation of this anthology, Moral Dispute Pretty, which is anthology of contemporary European gay poetry, with exactly 76 poets from 29 countries, translated from 32 languages. And one of those poets was also Gregory Woods.
Thank you. Is this working? No. No. Yes? No. Talk amongst yourselves. Is this one working? Yeah. Hooray! I read 3 poems. I was thinking about same-sex couples who are divided by war. One of them goes off to war and the other is left behind. I wrote this poem. I wrote it as a special challenge for a friend of mine who translates into Italian. This is a poem only in words of 1 syllable. Missing. Oh, the title is in 2 syllables. Day and night I wait for a word, not a breath of air in the house, still less in what's left of the heart, torn and dried out as if on a rock in the sun. Day and night, tense with the lack of news. When the phone rings, I don't pick it up, for fear of what its cold voice might say. But when it makes not a sound for days on end, I yearn for it to come back to life. I beg its harsh bell to wake me from my mood. One by one the days pass and they all merge as one. One by one each dull task is done and my hands move on to the next. Not an hour can be left free or the mind will have its way. When sleep comes at last, it brings no peace, for it tells cheap dreams as if in need of a crowd. The moon looks down through a mist, caught in the trees like a ripe fruit in a string bag. One slice might be well. What? Oh yeah. One slice and all might be well, thirst quenched. I don't pray, since it was those who pray who took him away from me in the first place. I don't pray, but I do dream of how one day I might hear the squeak of the hinge on the gate, and of how it might turn out to be not the boy with the worst news, but him. When it rains, I hear his breath in the leaves of the lime tree. When it snows, the lack of a sound fills me with dread. In spring, when the slopes come to life with a splurge of spurge, so that to walk there lifts the mind out of months of gloom, he is still gone. But on days when the sun comes out like a rose and casts its warm shade at my feet, though he is still gone, there might yet be hope. He smiled when I did. I filled his bath for him and scrubbed his back. I walked with him at dusk to the view of the woods. I laughed at his jokes and buffed his shoes. I watched him dream in the chair by the fire. Now, when I lie in bed with the lack of him, I still feel his weight at my side, a ghost of him, born out of my own best self. Is none of this worth a kind word in the shops or a warm glance? As far as we could, we kept out of the light. But when I walk to the woods on my own at the end of a long day, does no one see me go by and think, there goes the one who loves? Would it be too much for one of them, just one, to turn to me with old words and say, look on the bright side. No news is good news. Take one day at a time. Cheer up. In the mid-30s in Italy, a lot of gay men were sent into internal exile on the island of San Domino, off the east coast of Italy. And the strange thing about this was that they found themselves for the first time, a lot of them anyway, found themselves for the first time in their lives in a gay subculture. This is called internal exile. Banished to the fringe, but coming home, from isolation to a crowd of us, protecting our powder-pale faces with makeshift parasols, no longer watched by family, priest, teacher, neighbour, employer. We see in each other that look in the eye, a recognition, kindred spirits, kindred flesh. In unpropitious times, a girl must have her wits about her, not to mention her mascara, or failing that, a smudge of soot. We're having the time of our lives, within ourselves. We dress as we wish and behave as our fathers would not. We preen each other's plumage, gentle, virtuous birds, companions of Diomedes. Herded into this collective, reliant on each other's favours, a whispered word can dry a tear. Is it any wonder there are times we dread forgiveness, the chill threat of release? The rocks are bare with little shade, and nights are spent locked in each other's company. No electricity, no running water, but dreaming of something like this. And then finally, a poem called Dream Midnight, which was written in memory of one of my friends who didn't survive. At midnight, one midnight in 72, I wandered the city with nothing to do. I wandered the city as if I were dreaming, the blood in my temples insistently drumming. The doing of nothing took most of the night. So slow was my progress downwind of the light. So slow was my progress I thought I was dreaming, the blood in my temples insistently drumming. With nothing to guide me or show me my way, I knew where I was as if walking by day. I knew where I was, but I must have been dreaming, the blood in my temples insistently drumming. As if an idea had a substance to clutch, I might have been holding you, warm to the touch. I might have been holding you, rather than dreaming, the blood in my temples insistently drumming. Bewildered by doubt as my fancy became, I thought I could hear you saying my name. I thought I could hear you, but I was dreaming, the blood in my temples insistently drumming. In separate places and separate hearts, we blended our voices, exact counterparts. We blended our voices into our dreaming, the blood in our temples insistently drumming. Our throats made the sounds of the pleasures they lacked, unspeakable vices delivered from tact, unspeakable vices of which we were dreaming, the blood in our temples insistently drumming. At midnight, one midnight, a long time ago, I wrote you these verses, but you didn't know. I wrote you these verses as if you were dreaming, the blood in your temples insistently drumming.
Thank you. So few years after Izabela, a few years after the gay anthology, there was also a lesbian anthology, which with 55 poets from 25 countries and translated from 23 languages. And there was really a lot of excellent poets from Eastern Europe, and one of them was and is Izabela Morska here, and she will read, I hope, also in Polish.
No.
No.
I don't have the original, but instead of that, I wanted to praise Brane, praise you for a moment. Well, you will survive. Yes. I just want to say how honored I am by being invited for a second time and by being included in this project, and just the fact that I got to know someone like Brane. And why? Because Brane he has these ideas and he gets things done. He materializes them instantly. Like, I have ideas and they kind of like then float around, and it might get completed or not, or who knows. But I remember when we were when we were returning, Brane was driving me to the airport after the promotion of this wonderful anthology, and he asked me if we had gender studies conferences in Poland and scholars taking part in them, and I said yes, and he said, well, I would like to have something like that in Slovenia. And next thing I see, 2 months later, I see this invitation to Go East conference. So how admirable. The guy has an idea and boom, and it's there. So, and all of a sudden we are taking part in this first international Eastern European LGBT conference. So how wonderful. So the poems that are included in our anthology come from my volume of poetry entitled Madame Intuita, and I'm going to read the title poem and then two more, which are shorter ones. Madame Intuita. My whole life is like learning a second language. So many immigrant sacrifices, and in the end, I can't get rid of this accent, recognized everywhere to my dismay. And I'd been feeling quite assimilated, all that effort, and for what? Discouraged without wanting to admit it, I enroll in a class of heightened conversation. There, I also speak with an accent, even thicker. Sometimes I lose whole threads or connections. I guess it can't be helped. You can call this a mother tongue, but I don't have a mother, only a handful of old wives' tales and myths. Watch the distracted woman dancing on a tightrope. Will she fall? Will she find something to grab onto? The careful charting of her shifts in mood doesn't exactly encourage fluency. That other language, elusive yet familiar, is like water, slips through my fingers, now empty again, but for a trace of dampness, an aftertaste of crystalline pleasure. Like an early Renaissance poet, I savor the elaborate undergirding of Latin with its praiseworthy logic and concision. Despite efforts to blot out that passionate study, it will never fully disappear. The language of the educated classes gives me an edge in rhetorical contests. But in the heat of the moment, I lose sight of its sensible rules. The origins of words grow uncertain. Unsure of myself, I stop speaking altogether and just listen to the cascade of sounds, a mountain stream spilling onto a valley of rocks, which disappears like a shaky pulse and echo a gnome. Now you hear me, now you don't. And before I'm able to laugh, I have to wade through layers of hurt and shame. How to cope? Elsewhere, I come upon fragments of letters, stories broken off. I tie up those loose ends, restore lines with my brush. I'm content. I only look. I don't say a thing. Don't dare to breathe even so as not to frighten this roadside creature, half woman, half beast. When I turn around and look that way again, will I find at least a print from her tiny hoof? And we shall proceed. to Chrysalis. Lean and hungry women take on a new strength when disguised as men. They wrap themselves in tailored suits as in cocoons. They savor the simplicity of the cut, the smooth material, the presence of pockets. Above all, they don't have to accessorize. What's more, dressed in this manner, they begin to speak more calmly, with a precise elegance, no frills. Words unspool from them, from the core of their being, and fitfully they take flight. And here we are, Metamorphosis. Hard to call it tempestuous love when you can't stop laughing. My lover isn't a woman, she is a little critter. She has 4 paws and a sleek coat. We've stopped using words, just growls and purrs and all manner of animalness. Sometimes she's a koala and I a branch of eucalyptus. Or she's a big scary King Kong and I her rescued innocent. And then she's some unidentified little ball of fur squealing in my hands, or a wet tongue puffing from pleasure who sometimes to cheer me up slides across my nose. She's only a person when she gets serious and says, I'm tired, I've had it. And I don't know what to turn into, how to coax her back from humanness. For a while, it's all quiet, until somehow we push past that border and, it's just like on the human side, here on the same old couch, feeling skittish. But even still, it's always cozier, critter to critter. Thank you.
I'll only skip a little bit to prose. Nataša, Sukič. And Kristina will read the English translation. Nataša published several novels and short story books. And she will read from Picnic.
Dobro večer. Jaz vam prebrala en čist kratek odlomek iz romana Piknik. Lepo je ob zvokih džeza in bebopa videti mogoče Manhattan zženjenega brooklynskega okna. Nor kobanec mi je med vožnjo z letališča ves čas ponavljal. Naj vas nikar nič ne skrbi, to je Amerika. Na radiju so polkar vrteli polnokrvni črnski bebop in taksist, ime mu je bilo Juan, je ves navdušen tleskal s prsti in udarjal ritem po armaturni plošči. Je prepeval in morala sem priznati, da je sinkopični ritem velikega Dizzyja Gillespieja smrtno nalezljiv. In čeprav so se mi na čelu od izčrpanosti in čistega vznemirjanja nabirale vse debelejše potne kaplje, so me pošteno zasrbeli pod plati. Pograbila sem sončna očala in cigarete, da bi se skrila za črnimi stekli in oblakom dima. Kobanec je bil popolnoma nor. Celo vožnjo je kot kak ptič farfatal na sedežu, stokal in grulil, tap, tolkel po armaturi, na vse strani stresal svojo tenko ptičjo glavo na bambusovem vratu, na vse grlo prepeval in ves čas vznemirjeno ponavljal tisto svojo mantro o Ameriki kot obljubljeni deželi. Sin, pridite, je rekel, vsi moji sorodniki in prijatelji so že tu, naj vas nikar nič ne skrbi, To je Amerika. Njegov zamaknjeni obraz se je razlezel v široki nasmeh. Ja, ja, ja. Lepo je bilo videti tako srečnega človeka. Avtomobili so hupali, avenije so tulile, on pa je spretno krmaril po njih. Kje ste rekli, da vas odložim, je kričal. Vanderbilt Avenue, 147, kar pred vhodom, prosim. Kje, pravite? Bledikovo sonce drgeta napol skrito za deževnim oblakom in režen za režnjem izginja za ostrimi robovi škatlastih streh. Želvovinasta masa, cimeta varjava, ogledala v Luna parku, meseno obarvan čaj z mlekom, skodelica je žareče brezno. V trenutku zagorim ob misli na Anine lososovo rožnate bradavičke, na njene sladke gumbke v obliki polžjih hišk. K vragu, premlatila bom sonce kot tisti zavoženi boksar Jack iz zgodbe Charlesa Bukowskega, si rečem. Za sabo bom postila dneve mlačnosti in bom, pomešana med čelesteče pelerine in dežne plašče, v sopari pršečega dopoldneva razlivajoče se po mrzličnih avenijah, poljubila to bledo sonce. K vragu vse skupaj res. Izčrpana sem od napornega leta čez Atlantik, želim si le še osvežilne prhe, tobaka in postelje. Hej, Jen, a ti v spalnici kadiš? Jaz ne, a ti lahko vse, se zasmeji, ne me vrag, če ne, pa niti treba tega na debelo izkoriščati zdaj, ko to veš, se zareži in svoje rjave hipnotične oči upre naravnost v moje, da se v zadregi za hip obrnem proč. Ne bom, ne, rečem in si nadenem teatralno pohleven obraz. Vem, zares imam srečen, globoko sem hvaležna zanjo, ne neham pretiravati. Imaš, smeje vzklikne Jen in to, kakšno, kaj moram, všeč si mi, moja šibka točka si od nekdaj, grozno je to, a kaj moram. Jen izkoristi vsako priložnost, da se malo poflirta z mano, kot veter piha z vseh strani in je pri tem koketiranju zelo vztrajna, ne odneha. Stoji tik za mano, da na vratu začutim njen dih. Ne, si rečem, samo to ne. A Jen ima zlato srce, težko je zavrniti takega človeka. Že ko sta bili s Kristino v Ljubljani, je poskusila. Naredim se neumno, pretvarjam se, da ne razumem njenih namigov. Vsakič, ko me pogleda s tistim pogledom, je moj obraz rdeč kot pesa, spravlja me v pamet. Nočem, da misli, da sem kot kakšna uboga punca iz Kentakija ali Južne Karoline na smrt prestrašena, ker jo je pot po nesreči zanesla v New York, v ta karneval luči in svobode. Moja sramežljivost je res nemogoča, kot zaporniška krogla visi na moji nogi. Jen se v pogledu na moj lisast vrat in rdeča lica nagajivo zahihita in me lopne po hrbtu. No, reče z nekoliko razočaranim glasom in našobi ustnice, kaj me tako gledaš, saj nisem duh. Z nekakšno otožnostjo opazujem njene drobne boke in lepe linije njenih ramen in vratu in preklinjam kruto usodo, ki me je naredila za tako nesposobnico. Je to svoboda, si rečem, punca, si bila ti sploh kdaj vsaj za minuto zares svobodna.
So the novel is Picnic, and this excerpt is called Freedom. It's nice to look out onto the mighty Manhattan from Jen's Brooklyn window while listening to the sounds of jazz and bebop. Driving here from the airport, that crazy Cuban kept repeating, "Don't you worry about a thing, this is America." The radio was just playing full-blooded black bebop, and the taxi driver, his name was Juan, was snapping his fingers and tapping out the rhythm on the dashboard in excitement. "Yeah, yeah, yeah," he sang, and I had to admit that the syncopated rhythm of the great Dizzy Gillespie was deadly contagious. And although thicker and thicker beads of sweat were forming on my forehead from exhaustion and from sheer excitement, my feet were itching to dance. I grabbed for my sunglasses and cigarettes to hide behind the dark lenses and a cloud of smoke. That Cuban guy was completely crazy. The whole ride there, he kept fluttering on his seat like some bird, groaning and cooing, tap, 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 tapping on the dashboard, shaking his small bird-like head sitting on top of his bamboo-like neck this way and that, singing his lungs out, all the while anxiously repeating his mantra of the promised land of America. Come here, he said. All my friends and relatives are already here. Don't you worry about a thing. This is America. His enraptured face creased into a broad smile. Yes, yes, yes. It was nice to see someone who was so happy. The cars were honking, the avenues were blaring, and he expertly navigated his way through it. Where did you say you wanted to go? He screamed. Vanderbilt Avenue 147. Just drop me off at the entrance, please. I'm sorry, where? The pale sun is quivering, half hidden behind a rain cloud, disappearing crescent by crescent behind the sharp edges of box-like rooftops. A tortoiseshell mass, cinnamon brown, funhouse mirrors, carnally tinted tea with milk. The cup is a glaring abyss. I instantly flush at the thought of Anna's lobster-red nipples, her sweet buttons in the shape of snail shells. To hell with it. I'm going to beat the sun like Jack, the screwed-up boxer from that Charles Bukowski story, I say to myself. I'm going to leave behind those days of tepidness and blending into the rustling rain, coats and capes, in the heat of the drizzling morning, spilling onto feverish avenues. I'm going to kiss that pale sun. Really, to hell with it. I'm exhausted from my long-haul flight over the Atlantic. All I want is a refreshing shower, some tobacco and a bed. Hey, Jen, do you smoke in the bedroom? I don't, but you can. You can do anything you want, she laughs. I'll be damned if you can't. But don't go taking too much advantage of it now that you know, she says, grinning, fixing her hypnotic brown eyes straight onto mine, making me turn away in embarrassment for a moment. I won't, no, I say, putting on a theatrically meek face. I know, I'm really lucky and I'm deeply grateful for it. I go on exaggerating. That you are, exclaims Jen, laughing. Really lucky. What can I do? I like you. You've always been my weak spot. It's awful, but what can I do? Jen never misses an opportunity to have a little flirt with me. She's like the wind blowing from all sides and is very persistent in her coquetry. She doesn't let up, not for anything. She's standing right behind me and I can feel her breath on my neck. No, I say to myself, not this. But Jen has a heart of gold. It's hard to turn down someone like her. She already tried something when she and Christine were in Ljubljana. I play dumb, pretending not to understand her hints. Every time she gives me that look, my face turns red as a beetroot. It drives me crazy. I don't want her to think I'm like some poor girl from Kentucky or South Carolina, scared to death because her path has unexpectedly led her to New York, to this incredible festival of light and freedom. My shyness is truly impossible. It hangs from my foot like a ball and chain. At the sight of my spotty neck and red cheeks, Jen lets out a teasing giggle and gives me a slap on the back. Well, she says in a somewhat disappointed voice, puckering up her lips, why are you looking at me like that? I'm not a ghost. With a sort of sadness, I watch her tiny hips and the fine lines of her shoulders and neck, cursing the cruel fate that has made me so inept. Is this freedom? I say to myself. Girl, have you ever been truly free, even for a minute?
Thank you. Thank you, Natasha. I must add that Natasha was one of the main lesbian activists for years, and now she's a member of Slovenian Parliament. She is the first and the only open LGBT member of Slovenian Parliament. And maybe next, Vesna Liponik. She's maybe, yes, the youngest one, preparing her first poetry book, and she will read. Okay.
Slici se tako stvari, tako eksplozije, počutim se priprebil, tako drži gor slici. Take off so things so so hands again in the face, explode. I feel in the I hold bear take off. Grabeš korito torbo politično. Tam te zdaj tekel spet soba. Ne iščeš tam roke. And she keeps me, she clings with traps of her hair about her. She burns, sharpens vegetation, quiet. I accelerate, she pulls the parts out of the blanket. Zložim spet grčaste glave, zložim spet luknjo, roke bo. I fill the whole knot heads with rounds. I stroke uprooted skin. I pull to. I fold again. I hold pieces after one. Hands hurt.
Thank you. We have plenty of lesbian poets and prose writers and not so many gay writers and poets, but this is not some speciality of Slovenia, but in most of the Eastern Europe it's something like this. So Gašper Malej, he's a poet, but his main activity is translation of literature from Italian. He translated of books, and also authors like Pasolini, Tondelli, and so on.
Yeah, I will read a few poems in Slovenian and a few poems in English, but not the same ones, because this ones from my last book has not been translated yet. Odgovarja obraz, kretnja na papirju, narekovanost, trezna zamrznitev inscenacij paradigmatske ljubezenske dvojice, nalašče zapisano v suhoparnem diskurzu, vaja v preklapljanju, vse to sem, vse različne umestitve, nasmeh in svetlo-siva obleka, vse bolj elegantna maska, sonce jo razžari. in stali na mojem negibnem obrazu. Edinem, ki ga lahko ohranim zate. Tisto, kar sem ti želel tako neodložljivo povedati, v resnici ni nič drugega kot opomba. Vrednostna dimenzija izključena, sopostaviš ji različne ambiente, morda boš tako še najbolje razumel. Preveč zgodbam prepuščam, da preprosto bežijo mimo. Včasih kak trenutek svetlikanja, v najboljšem primeru, k podobi vrtnice se ne vrnem. Naj mirno zopet zanesljivo izseva svoj pomen in napoveduje, ker sva pač v sferi literature, neizbežni poljub. Te bom narisal znova. Še tiste zadnje otožne centimetre, ki kot po pravilu zaključujejo leto, razdeliš ga na sedmine in na svatovske obrede. Se od obojega posloviš, ker se ne more zgostiti v tvoje življenje. Kako bo v prihodnje uprizarjalo negotovost, se izganjalo iz besed, nikoli spojeno s slikami iz tujega filma. Vedno preveč drhteče, da bi se istovetilo z odgovorom. I won't be dreaming you ever again. You won't be dreamed ever again. You stopped short of rising to the throne. My will left you. I colored my wounds with it, dug them up and deepened them to make them visible. A vain effort. Roads keep flowing off in other directions. How weak the link to the gold of that period is. You close your eyes for a moment and try resounding, only to be intercepted by the keepers of touches, who finish it all off with the word distance. The night falls, which isn't lit through even by the farthest star, the one watching over your sleep and my sleeplessness. You carry and conceal the memory I offer up. To everyone who is inside me, I think then I delete it here. A certain closeness that spreads out carefully and keeps control over my pupils, the pulse, seashells, stealthily like a crystal. We happened fleetingly like a snow-clad field glued together with the anxiety of lips. I don't know who you are, but deep down I feel yet, what do I write? I start blending into the trembling that is promised by our kiss to be. I'm still afraid of your name, even though the pain is already a distant, unfathomable shadow. I tremble at the lines I make out by chance unintentionally in the outlined places which glue me into precipices, freezing things I've covered with thick deposits of closeness. A different idiom has been created, new networks almost without a remnant, I keep telling myself, but it can ambush me, albeit in the moments of the utmost alertness, and I shiver, an inkling of the old times being drowned by an increasingly reliable darkness. And I tell you, with the deceptive pause, but with no sudden change of heart that I forgive. The one who gains knowledge outlines desires, arranging them reliably, even foreseeing the names of fear. Who knows if it can be done by a man's hand, if that hand is not veiled in advance by masks, by the parched root of cognition, or simply a weight, a fatigue engulfing the world and declaring itself an origin. There is so little that two of us can add to it. It is so much a birth, so much freedom, perhaps redemption, where we assemble ourselves into a possible closeness.
Thank you. Jedrt, Lapuh, Maležič, and Kristina. A little bit of prose. Jedrt published 2 books of short stories, and now the novel is coming. Let's go.
Sorry, I didn't know I have to bring the Slovenian version, so I'm reading from my phone. S telefona bom brala, ker nisem vedela, da moram tudi v slovenščini prinesti. Ja, bo malo. Racija. Nisem del njihove scene in nikoli niti ne bi hotela postati lezba, ampak na afterju, ko jo gledam krilt po zraku pa razkladati o aktualnem političnem položaju manjšin, se vsake toliko malo zazibljajo joške in to mi nekaj naredi. Tako majico brez rokava sem se neštetokrat predstavljala od zadaj, kako se pne čez kitast hrbet, ko se zariva vame in me sopiha na uho. Tank top, piše na artiklu Štocuna z oblekami. Tank beba. Hotela bi, da je bolj pristna. Zato mi gre mimo Suzane čika na živce, ker se ves čas dela, da inhalira, pa jo točno vidim, da spušča pol dima skozi nos, drugo polovico pa komaj okuša. Nazadnje, ko se joški za hip ustavijo in rečem, naj mi dajem dim. Zelo globoko in nazorno potegnem, potem pa ji vrnem štafeto in rečem, a je tok težko. Malo je zmedena, ker ni povsem jasno, kaj bi sploh rada od njej, toda po trenutku, ki obvisi med zbranim občestvom kot neumestna kepa, že nadaljuje stav kot prej. Zato napravim drugega, kot da je pri nas ta glavna poreča jeba, da se pri nas ta pa ta žge s tem pa tem in da zaradi tega padajo direktorske pozicije. Pereča jeba, je rekla. Tako pereča, kot moja jeba med nogami že ne mora biti. Sestradana se me. Tank top mi dela v glavi in se ritmično zazibava v pulziranje, da komaj še sedim, medtem ko si v mizje podajo joint. Poda mi ga in brez potega ga poda naprej, da se malo obrne in se je v jami izkoplje najneznatnejša jamica med mišicama, joj meša se mi, pereče je. Te trapaste besede. Njegova bivša je ta lezba, ime je Tanja in kecanje, da me zaobjame ščeget, ko me Miloš v popoldanski sparini Metelkove ljubkovalno potreplja po stegnu, pa nisem prepričana, na koga se odzivam. On je hotel, da prideva sem pred tiflo, na hišico na drevesu, nazadnje pa na teraso. Zdaj pa meni cvrči od ščegetanja, Tanja, to ni več zdravo. Ko da so se ljudje okoli razblinali, imam občutek, da vsakič, ko odpre usta za še eno poznavalsko floskulo, vanje zajema mojo pičko in z jezikom prodira v globino. Že dolgo nisem kadila in nekaj časa traja, da poštekam, kdaj sem ugrabila joint. Šele, ko ena od lesb ganđoljubno zapoje Pass it over to me, hi, se zavem neoljudnosti, tudi takrat so moje oči že riževa zrna in prekriva me samo še komprena s tank topom, rije po meni in istočasno ostaja pri miru, kakor zrak na terasi pred mizartom. Nenadoma zavlada nekakšen preplah, tako ga občutim. Vsi in vse ostajajo, pa ne vem, kje sem zaostala. Plesat grejo, poštekam in se nerodno zvalim z Miloševe rame, ki se zgane. Medtem vidim Tanjo, kako se približuje svojemu bivšemu, mojemu zdajšnjemu, ga v počasnem posnetku zgrab za ramo, da je se je biceps čisto rahlo izboči, joj, fak, kako me vzburja. Miloša poljubi na lice, pogleda mene in reče njemu, no, kako se bova zmenila. Miloš me z eno roko še zmer podpira in mirno odvrne, dej čas, pa vodo ji nosi. Potem se roka, ki me nosi, zamenja in na Miloševem mestu sedi ščegetanja in moja glava je vse težja, dokler ne pristane na njenih kavbojkah, na kar se opravičim in se za hip budna in ob opori razbeljenih zrnc na tleh terase zavihtim nazaj, bliže k naramnici njenega tanktopa. Malo je oznojena in ne morem se več ustaviti, ker ima rosa na njeni rami okus. Ni slankasta, zazdi se mi skoraj sladka, kar moram nujno preveriti še enkrat, čeprav je uho že prebliz. In ko je ravno tam, zakaj ne bi preizkusila, ali je tudi za ušesom tako slastna. Obslonim še ne, ko se spomnim, da to ni več samo v moji glavi, da se mora nekaj poznati v resničnem svetu. Ampak, sklenem, če je uho s sladko zabritimi sladkimi lasmi tisto primeru, potem je vendar ne morem motiti, ne? Potem me je sprejela. Zašelesti in nekaj se zgane, ojoj, nekaj se premakne. Bedarijo sem si prvošla, pa ne Miloševe bivše, no. Moja glava se dvigne, strmo pogledam, izostrim sliko in ozrem na smejan obraz. A si me zamenjala, se mi reži, pa bi rada odgovorila, da točno vem, kdo je, še pereča predobro. A da ne zmorem drugega, kot da se zrušim nazaj na naramnico njene majice in mi roka omahne med njene prekrižene noge, kjer nagonsko otipa, da je res ona in sama od sebe gnete, kakor da bi šlatala samo sebe, ko se mi zjutraj ne da vstati. Še nikoli nisem nikogar zamenjala, rečem. Saj zdi se mi, da pride ven prav, da se razume. Ne vem, ali sem prenežna ali pregroba, ker se nič ne premika, sploh nič. Nič se ne premika.
Okay, is it called Police Raid? Yeah. Police Raid. I'm not part of the scene and I'd never even want to become a lesbo, but during the squat after party, when I watch her flap her arms about and go on about the current political position of minorities, every once in a while her tits seem to sway and that inflicts something upon me. Countless times I've imagined the exact same kind of sleeveless top from behind, stretched over a sinewy back, while the body would push itself onto me and pant in my ear. Tank top. The price tag in the clothing store would say, tank babe. I would want her to be more authentic though, so her sucking on the cigarette is annoying me, because all the while she's pretending to inhale, but I can see clearly that she releases half of the smoke through her nose, while barely tasting the other half. Finally, when her tits stop swaying for just a second, I ask her for a smoke from her fag. I inhale very deeply and thoroughly. Then I return the fag and say, "Is it really that hard?" She's slightly confused, not getting what I want from her, but in the very same moment that lingers among the gathered crowd like a misplaced blob, she already continues her sentence from before. So what I'm actually saying is that in our country, the main burning clusterfuck is that this or that person is screwing this or the other one, and that is clearly how CEOs are chosen. Burning clusterfuck, she said. It can't be as burning as the sudden clusterfuck between my legs. I'm starving for her. Tank top, my head goes rhythmically swinging into pulsation, so I can hardly sit while the crowd is passing a joint around. I pass it on to her, and without blowing she passes it on, so that she has to turn a bit, and her shoulder shows an ever so slight tiny little hole between her muscles. Damn, I'm losing it. The clusterfuck is burning me up. Stupid words. She is his ex, this lesbo. Her name is Tanya, and it seems funny when I shiver in tickles when Miloš lovingly pats my thigh in the sweltering afternoon of the Metelkova squat. Although I'm not sure to which one of them I'm responding. He was the one who wanted her to come, first to Tiffany, then to the treehouse, and finally this terrace. But now I'm sizzling from tickly Tanya. That cannot be sane anymore. As if the people around us have vanished, I feel like every single time she opens her mouth to utter another expertly formed inner politics formula, she could just as easily be mouthing my pussy and penetrate it with her tongue. It's been a while since I last smoked weed, and it takes me some time to get that I'm bogarting the joint. It's not until one of the lesbos giddily sings, "Pass it over to me, he," that I realize how rude I am.
but my eyes are already grains of rice, and I'm covered by nothing but the veil of the tank top scene in which she digs into me and at the same time remains completely still, like the air on the terrace in front of the Mizard Club. Suddenly the air is dominated by some kind of alarm, or so I sense it. Everyone starts getting up, but I have no idea where I got left behind. I seem to get that they're going dancing, so I clumsily roll down from Miloš's shoulder when it moves. I can see Tanya moving in on her ex, my current man, grabbing his shoulder in a slow take, so that her biceps protrude in a tiny bit, ever so slightly. Fuck, how that turns me on. She kisses Miloš on the cheek, looks at me and says to him, "Well, what's the deal with her then?" Miloš is still supporting me with one arm and calmly answers, "Give her time, and water, bring her water." Then the hand that carries my weight changes, and Tickly Tanya sits in Miloš's spot, and my head is getting heavier and heavier until it lands on her jeans. Then I apologize and swing back, awake for a second and leaning on the hot cement terrace floor to get closer to the shoulder strap of her tank top. She's a bit sweaty, and I cannot stop myself because the dew on her shoulder actually has taste. It's not salty, it seems almost sweet, and I must urgently check that again, even though her ear is already too close, and since she's there, why not taste whether she is that deliciously sweet even behind the ear? I only give up when I remember that this is no longer only in my mind, that something of it must be visible somewhere in the real world. Nevertheless, I conclude, if her ear with the sweetly shaved tiny hair behind it keeps perfectly still, then I cannot possibly be bothering her, right? Then she has accepted me. Something rustles and moves. Oh, damn, something startles me. I've done such a stupid thing. Not Miloš's ex, not her, not for anything. My head lifts. I give a stern look. I focus, zoom in, and see a smiling face. "Have you confused me with someone?" she laughs. And I would like to answer that I know exactly she is burningly so. And I know exactly who she is burningly so. But I cannot muster anything, so I crash back to the strap of her tank top, and my hand falls between her spread legs, where it instinctively feels that this is truly her, and starts kneading by itself as if I were touching myself when I'm too lazy to get up in the morning. I've never confused anyone, I say out loud. At least it feels like I'm saying it, right? Like it's understandable. I don't know whether I'm too gentle or too rough, because nothing at all is moving. Nothing is moving.
Thank you. Milan Šelj. Milan Šelj just published a new poetry book. And most of Slovenian gay writers and poets live in exile, and he's one of them.
Hello everybody. As Brane said, my book came out only yesterday, so it's really hot off the print. I'm very happy bunny tonight. And for all of you who know Brane as a great organizer, poet and gay activist, he's also a great publisher. He's running Lambda Publishing House since 1990, if I'm not mistaken, which published over almost 140 books so far, and I'm very proud and happy to be part of that family, which is my spiritual home. So I'll read a few poems from my latest book, a couple of them in Slovene and then the rest in English. Pobrita glava počiva ob moji. Z nevidno kretnjo skušam objeti izdih po razlitju. Žarek zdrkne skozi režo zaves čez polico. Gibki šakal se dvigne in zmuzne z ležišča. Med rjuhami za mano je odtis krhke sence. Na hodniku mi izmakne še zadnjo besedo. V zraku lebdijo nitke ostrega vonja in se počasi spuščajo na moje drgetajoče telo. A shaved head is resting next to mine. I try to embrace his quick breath after the spill of burning sperm. Above the windowsill, sun rays slip through a slit in the curtains. Slowly, like an elegant jackal, he sneaks out of bed, leaving the impression of a sensuous shadow. I let him steal the last word before he leaves. His sharp fragrance floats in the air, enveloping my still quivering body. Arabci se vedno širko se posmehuje. Oni so pač zmeraj in vedno le zgoraj. Bulgari se bolje znajdejo kot Romuni, ker so bili tu že pred njimi. Romuni so manj zbirčni kot Madžari, ker so vedno pripravljeni na zgoraj in spodaj. Črnce en kurac nihče nič ne vpraša. A na koncu se vse lepo poravna. Vsi smo enaki. Samo tarifa za opravilo je različna. Arabs brag they are the best, my friend, because they insist on being atop. Bulgarians get picked more often than Romanians because they are cheaper. Romanians are less choosy than Hungarians, you know, because they are always happy to be a top or a bottom. Nobody asks black guys if you are lucky to find one for a fuck. But in the end, I say, we are all the same. The only difference is the price of a good lay. I don't remember when I last saw a cheap salami, spring onions, and a bottle of vodka on his table. Shall we have something to eat? My companion says. I'm hungry, I say. So, let's feast, he orders. But first, I'll take off my boots. Laughing with mischief, he pulls up his shorts even higher, wolves down his grub like a hound, and barks. Did you really think I would feed you for free, you fucking nitwit? And the last one? On the back seat of the car, he mutters to himself, "Oh God, for the first time I think I'm falling in love with a man." For a moment, I find his confession banal. Do I detect a whiff of regret in his voice? Maybe he thinks he's been missing something. I whisper, "Lovey, don't worry. There's a first time for everything."
Thank you. You forgot the book. Suzana Tratnik. Suzana Tratnik wrote poetry when she was young, and then she became more clever, and now she's the most successful writer among LGBT writers. She writes short stories and also some novels and for young. Yeah.
You didn't have to mention the poetry parts, but okay. I will read two short stories. The first one I will read in Slovenian first is based on true event. And the person named Nataša is Nataša Sukič here. Later we found out we both wrote a story about this, not knowing about each other.
So the Slovenian version. Transvestiti na avtobusu. Z Natašo sediva na vaškem avtobusu, pozno zvečer, jeseni leta 1987. Pravkar smo prištopali iz Prage. Odložili so naju pozno zvečer na Ptuju. Nataša predlaga, da prispiva v bližnji vasi pri njeni stari mami. Na avtobusu je skupina glasnih fantov, lačnih zabave. Takoj naj opazijo. Usedejo se okoli naju na zadnje sedeže. Mi dve gledava v tla, gledava proč. Pripombe letijo. Poglej te dve čudakinji. Poglej velike nahrbtnike imata. Gotovo govorita po ljubljansk. Ja, tudi kako sta nekaj več od nas kmetov, a ne? A tudi mi iz province imamo kaj pokazati. Potem prižgajo cigarete. Avtobus je poln, a nihče se ne vrne. Nikogar ne govorjenje in zabavljanje. Vsi so veseli, da niso na najnem mestu. Razmišljamo o ameriškem filmu The Incident, o dveh težakih, ki po noči njujorški podzemni železnici maltretirata potnike. Mlad zakonski par s hčerko, črnski par, starejši judovski par, vojaka z zlomljeno roko, homoseksualca, klošarja. In vsak je vesel, da ni na mestu žrtve, a vsak pride na vrsto. Zdaj pa tiho, reče tip, ki sedi ob meni. Tako nam je jasno, da je to kapo banda. Ponudi mi cigareto. Odkimam. Zakaj ne? Niso dovolj dobri. Ne to rečem, ne kadim v avtobusu. Nima veda, mi reče, pri nas kadim v avtobusu. Pri nas pa ne, rečem. Trudim se, da ne bi zvenelo pravilno. A ja, pri vas pa. Kdo pa ste vi? Ženske ali moški? Spet letijo pripombe. Saj res pogledka sebi. Mogoče imate tudi brke in kosmate zize? Ne, ne verjamem. Sta baba ali sta dve čudni babi? Transvestitke. Reče se transvestitke, bedak. Transvestiti se prebačijo. It's showtime, folks. No, reče Nataša, zdaj pa je dovolj. Hočejo biti civilizirani, ker nimajo česar, s čimer bi lahko streljali. Pravkar smo bili na lezbičnem tednu v Berlinu in hočejo biti civilizirani, če že streljati ne moreva. Ravnokar smo zapustili sveteljanski svet lezbičnih barov, razprav o postkolonializmu, indijskih restauracij in subkulturo spremenljivih spolnih identitet. Veš kaj, reče kapo banda Nataši. Ne slišim, kaj govori, ker ji šepeta na uho. Ne trži, kaj bi rad, reče Nataša. Potem odidejo z avtobusa, postajo pred nama. Vabijo na srečo malo, ker odhajajo. Veš, kaj mi je rekel, mi pove Nataša. Povedal mi je, da ve, kaj sva. Kaj le, transvestiti, se kislo pošalim, zdaj, ko so pijani zabavljači zapustili avtobus. Ne, zaskrbljeno reče Nataša, lezbiki. Ja, res je. Provinca ni več provinca in svet postaja globalna vas.
Transvestites on the bus. Natasha and I are sitting on the village bus. It's a late evening in fall 1987. We're hitchhiking from Berlin, and somebody has dropped us off in the small town of Ptui. Natasha suggests that we sleep over at her grandmother's in the village nearby. On the bus, a bunch of noisy local boys hungry for entertainment spot us and take the back seats, surrounding us. Natasha and I stare at the floor. Remarks are thrown at us. Check out those two weirdos. Wow, look at those shoes and those huge backpacks. I bet they speak the Ljubljana slang. Yeah, they're probably studying in Ljubljana and now they think they're better than us peasants, right? Hey, we provincials can show them up. They light cigarettes. The bus is full of people, but no one turns around. Nobody seems to be bothered by the smoke, nor by the loud talk and jokes. They're all happy not to be in our place. I'm thinking about the American movie, the incident with two bullies in the New York subway at night. They torment the passengers one by one. A young married couple with a daughter, a black couple, an elderly Jewish couple, a soldier with a broken arm, a homosexual, a bum. Everybody's glad that he or she is not the victim, but everybody's turn is bound to come. Now shut up, demands a guy next to me. Natasha and I see that he is the Kapelbanda, the ringleader. He offers me a cigarette. I shake my head. Why not? The Kapelbanda demands. Aren't these good enough for you? It's not that, I say. I don't smoke on the bus. Who cares? He replies impatiently. Here we do smoke on the bus. But we don't, I say, trying not to sound too offensive. Oh yeah? Is that so? You don't? And who? Remarks are again thrown all over the bus. Hey, look what they're wearing. Black jackets and torn jeans. Yeah, and how about those haircuts? Think they've got moustaches and hairy tits? Nah, I don't think so. Are they dudes or two weird chicks? They're transvestites. It's transvestites, you know. Right there. It's showtime, folks. Cut it out, Natasha tells them. That's enough. We want to be civilized. We can't shoot back because we have nothing to shoot with. We've just been at the Lesbian Festival Week in Berlin. We just left the metropolitan world of lesbian bars, discussions about post-colonialism, Indian food, anarchists' gatherings, and gender-bender subculture. We want to be civilized, at least, if we cannot shoot. You know what, says the leader to Natasha, whispering in her ear. I can't hear what he's saying. Stop bothering us. What the hell do you says Natasha. Absolutely nothing from crazy chicks like you, says the leader with his mean laugh. You're goddamn lucky this is our stop, says another boy. But you can come with us if you want to have some real fun. They leave the bus one stop before we do. Ours is the last one, still inviting us to join them. You know what he said to me, says Natasha. He said he knew what we really are. And what are we? Transvestites? I dare to joke about it since the drunken clowns have left the bus. No, Natasha is alarmed. Lezzies. Yeah, it's quite true. The province is not a province anymore, and the world is becoming a global village.
The next one also based on true events, partially. Polet. Se spominjaš, da je bilo takrat šele nekaj minut čez polnoč. Pravzaprav je tista bila že sobota in smo že lahko rekli, jutri pa bo nedelja. Ti si imela zelo, ko si risala možičke na mojo roko, jaz pa se nisem mogla zbrati. Ampak te težave z zbiranjem same sebe niso bile tako vsakdanje, ne čisto take, kakor so v navadi pri večini ljudje, kadar sedijo na vlaku in jim nekdo riše možičke na roko. Sploh se nisem mogla osredotočiti na nobeno stvar. Nisem slišala drdranja vlaka, niti tople sape iz kave v termoki, še manj sem se zavedala okusa salamo sendviču. Poskusila sem z možički, vendar so bežali po tvojo roko, se zvijali in padali. Iz nahrbtnika sem vzela rdečo gajbo. Imeli smo samo en nahrbtnik in samo eno spalno vrečo, se spominjaš? In potem smo možičke spustili na gajbo, tako namirni so bili. Mogoče zdaj malo pretiravam, vendar se natančno spominjam, da so bili začarani možički in začarana gajba. Sprevodnik je pregledoval karte. Njegov pogled če začarana v kam potujeva. Se veš, kako nekateri uživajo v tem, da so sposobni vse razumeti. V tistem trenutku nam je bila pomembna samo misel na rdečo gajbo z možički in okus kave v ustih. Se veš, kakšen je okus kave po sendviču s prigretimi salamami. Sendvič in kavo sva hitro použili. Iz nahrbtnika sva vzeli še Travisa. Lemarno se pretegnil, to pa mačo skočil na gajbo in se zleknil. Pri tem je potencialno čkal, a drugače ni šlo. Travisa nismo mogli pustiti samega doma. Na nogo je začela risati nove možičke na mojo roko, Travis pa je zapredel. Zakaj tako ropotaš, Travis, si rekla. Vedno si govorila, da Travis ropota, ko je zapredel. Potem smo si izmislili igro zvokov. Oponašali smo ovce, konje, mežičke, krave in Trevisa. Dajva oponašati ljudi, si rekla. Oponašala si ljudi, govorila si in govorila, krilila si z rokami, besede so se zapletala in prebledela si. Potem si rekla, to boli, dajva oponašati ribe. Oponašali smo ribe. Ponavadi ljudje tega ne počnejo vlakov, zato smo tudi potovali nekaj minut čez polnoč, ker takrat ponavadi ljudje ne potujejo in potem lahko ribe oponašaš po mili volji. Travis je skočil z gajbe na naslednji postaji. Bil je njegov čas. Rekla si, da si želiš, da bi vsi ljudje izstopili na tej postaji in bi ti risala mežičke na mojo roko, medtem ko bi jaz oponašala ribe in da bi se čas ustavil. Potem smo oponašali čas, ki se je ustavil. Hvala.
Flight. Do you remember that back then when it was only a few minutes after midnight? It was actually Saturday and it would have been quite justifiable to say tomorrow is Sunday. You had a very restless hand, drawing funny little people on my arm, and I couldn't put myself together. But the trouble I had putting myself together wasn't that ordinary, not the kind of trouble most people would have while sitting on the train and having someone drawing funny little people on their arms. I couldn't concentrate on anything at all. I didn't hear the train rattling, nor the warm whistle of the coffee from the open flask. Least of all was I aware of the taste of the salami in our sandwiches. I tried with the funny little people, but under your hand they were running all over, folding themselves and falling down. I took the red crate out of the rucksack. We had only one rucksack and one sleeping bag, do you remember? And then we let the funny little people jump on the crate. They were so restless. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit now, but I do remember very well that the funny little people, and the crate were enchanted. The ticket inspector was checking our train tickets. His glance over his glasses told us that he'd figured out where we were bound for. You do know that some people enjoy their ability to understand just everything. In that moment, the only things we had in our mind were the red crate with funny little people and the taste of coffee in our mouth. You do know the taste of coffee after a sandwich with overheated salami. The sandwiches and coffee were rapidly consumed. Out of the rucksack we also took Travis the cat. He lazily stretched and cat-like jumped onto the crate and lay down. By doing so, he trod on some of the funny little people, but that was inevitable, as we couldn't have left Travis the cat at home. Immediately, you started to draw new funny little people on my arm, and Travis the cat started to purr. "Why do you chatter so much, Travis?" you said to him. You were always saying he was chattering while he was purring. Then we invented a game of sounds. We imitated sheep, horses, funny little people, cows, and Travis. "Let's imitate people," you said. You imitated people. You talked and talked, gesticulated wildly, the words entangled, and all of a sudden you grew pale. "That hurts," you said. "Let's imitate fish." And we imitated fish. Usually people don't do that on trains. That was while we were travelling a few minutes after midnight, because usually people don't travel at this hour, and then you can imitate fish as much as you like. Travis jumped off the crate at the next station. It was his time. You said that you wanted everyone to get out at this station so that you could go on drawing funny little people on my arm while I went on imitating fish, and that time would stop. Then we imitated the time that has stopped.
Thank you. We have still two. Kristina Hočevar. She writes only poetry, as I know. No prose, no short stories, nothing for children. But she has still time.
No, prebrala bom nekaj pesmi v slovenščini, potem po angleščini, ne nujno iste. So I'm going to read Slovene first and English after that, not necessarily the same poems. Govoriva o nacizmu in estetiki, nobena od naju ni nacistka, ampak zaradi estetike in mojih strahov in nimam političnega diskurza, ona z roletami čez, jaz v kotu, pretrpiva solzami na robu oči, pozno po noči proti jutri se končno dol dava povsem slečeni. Izmišljam si odgovore, zgodbe, mnenja, vse skozi si jih samo izmišljam. Zjutraj po telefonu, v avtomobilu na poti na vzhod, zvečer, za brusanje celo, si izmišljam zgodbice, zanjo drive. Jasna tišina je grožnja, zanjo mrzlo in srepo nebo. Vse bo v redu, ko ti bom spet verjela, pravi. Vem, da je nepovratno. Zaupanje in vera nista nikoli vrnjena v isto stanje. Odnos postane pogojen. Sum ostane neizdrt. Ogrnjenje z debelo in široko odejo. Da bližina ne postane dodatna tujost. Nezajemljiva tujost dveh črnih hrepenen. Če bova gradili hišo skupaj, naj ima ločena vhoda. Za vsako od naju zrcalna postavitev. Če bova živeli skupaj, naj bova ločeni. Čez 10 let najmanj, ko boš ti našla novega človeka zase. Za seks, za šport, za rekreacijo, za navdih. Če bova skupaj, morava biti ena do druge prijazni. Zlome kosti morava zaliti. Nobena od naju si med valjanjem v blatu in ištevanjem ljudi ne sme razbiti zob. Če sva skupaj in kadar nisva skupaj. We talk, she talks about Nazism and aesthetics, and neither of us is a Nazi. But because of aesthetics and my fears, and I don't have a political discourse, we suffer. Her with blinds over, me in the corner, with tears on the brink of our eyes. Late at night, almost moaning, we finally both totally undressed. I'm thinking up responses, stories, opinions, always just thinking them up. In the morning on the phone, in the car going east, in the evening, even for sharpening. I'm thinking up stories for her. Drive. The clear silence is a threat for her. A cold, glaring sky. Everything's going to be all right when I believe you again, she says. I know it's irreversible. Trust and faith are never returned to the same state. A relationship becomes conditioned. Suspicion remains unextracted. I drape her with a thick and wide blanket to avoid closeness becoming an added strangeness. The uncapturable strangeness of two black longings. This is the mouth of war. We're hanging from hooks, not as artists, not as circus performers, not fantasy dolls. This is a war mouth. Here is a war mouth. Nowhere a butcher to unhook us. Only flies are getting stuck to the wet blood. If we build a house together, let it have separate entrances. For each of us a mirror arrangement. If we live together, let us be separate. In 10 years at the latest, when you find a new person for yourself, for sex, for sport, for recreation, for inspiration. If we're together, we must be kind to each other. We must fuse bone breaks.
Neither of us must break her teeth in mud bathing, in counting humans out, or in darkness, if we're together and where we're not together. Še zadnja. Only these walls are your walls. Teams change, sounds alter. Girls get younger. Only behind these bars your body unfolds. There is no other dance floor. You watch all of them, yours and the presumptuous. They spawn and hands slither. You breathe and the black sun above us revolves. You electrify and there's no need for difference. In this territory you breathe scarlet. No one can throw iron around these silken necks. There is night and it's day. When we are, we ride. When we dance, we ride. And sounds sway the hips. And you can only wipe the cocoa powder off my lips. At these walls you lean with a bent leg. On these vaults you lean with bare hands. There are girls, hints of boys, hints of girls. Pomegranate nights are washed with glasses of water. And here stands your shelter, even though it is sinking. From underneath these vaults you rise. Here your kisses are, in these walls. For only these walls are your walls. Hvala.
Thank you. Jasna Žmak. She's coming from Zagreb. She published 2 performance texts and a book of queer prose, and she's also participant of our conference. She will have a lecture tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to read 2 stories, one in Croatian and the other one in English, although there are 3 speakers of Croatian in the audience, I think, but some others also understand, hopefully. More, okay, the older generation of Slovenians, also knows. Just a small note about my first story. It's titled Neprevodiva, which means untranslatable, and I like to read it in situations like this where the audience is foreign and doesn't necessarily understand. But I'm going to read it in Croatian, so Neprevodiva. Tvoje se priče stvarno ne daju prevesti. Zaključila si danas, nakon 2 tjedna upornih pokušaja, da barem onu najkraću od njih prevedeš na engleski. Izašla si iz vlastite radne sobe i rezignirano rekla: ne mogu se prevesti ni na srpski, a kamoli na engleski. Zapravo, zaključila si to još prvog dana, ali mi nisi to imala odmah srca reći. Ili možda nisi imala odmah srca reći to sebi, profesorici engleskog jezika i književnosti, profesorici hrvatskog jezika i književnosti, koja ne može prevesti priču od jedva 1000 znakova s jednog jezika na drugi. Te 2 profesorice u tebi pokušavale su i pokušavale, ali nisu uspjele. Provele su 2 tjedna u toj sobi koja ne postoji, uz 2 kile rječnika i nekoliko slabo našiljenih olovaka. Ali ništa nije pomoglo, do prijevoda nikad nije došlo. Kad si napokon izašla i priznala poraz rekavši, kao i poezija, i tvoja je proza neprevodiva, htjela sam ti reći told you so, jer ja već odavno znam da moje priče ne postoje na jeziku drugom od ovog našeg. Njih se može čitati samo na ovom jeziku na kojem ih i pišem, tom malom jeziku koji nestaje. Da, moje priče nastaju na nečemu što nestaje. I moje će priče, kao i taj jezik, jednom nestati, nečujno, kao ono drvo koje padne u šumi, ali nema nikog da njegov pad čuje. Šaptom će pasti. I engleski će jednom nestati, kažem ti da te utješim. Sve jednom nestane. I sve što nastaje, uvijek nastaje na nečemu što nestaje. Tako poželim nastaviti, ali onda ipak odustanem. Jer znam da i ti to već znaš. Jer znam da to baš nije neka utjeha. Nestati, nastati. Razlika je samo u jednom slovu, samo u jednom samoglasniku, barem na tom našem malom jeziku, a to i nije tako puno. I ovako se može dogoditi da se autor ili lektorica zabune pa da, recimo, umjesto da nastane, neki čovjek u nekoj priči jednostavno nestane. Ali više od sličnosti tih 2 riječi mene brine prolaznost svega što postoji, svega što se piše. Brinu me te gomile riječi, rečenica, knjiga, mahom nepročitanih ili tek površno pročitanih. Brinu me priče koje su ostale zabilježene, ali su još brže zaboravljene. Kako je to moguće, poželim te upitati. I tad ova priča prestaje biti o tome mogu li se ili ne moje priče prevesti na neke druge jezike, a počinje biti o tome koliko smisla uopće ima pisanje u svijetu u kojem već postoje gomile ispisanih riječi, napisanih, a nikad pročitanih knjiga, stranice i stranice rečenica, ukoričenih tvrđe ili mekše, ali objavljenih, baš tako, crno na bijelo, na očigled svijeta koji se onda mora baviti njima, a koji zapravo, što je najgore, za njih uopće ne mari. Kako da nastavim pisati kad znam da su riječi danas prazne? Pitanje je koje ti već dugo želim postaviti, ali nikad to ne učinim, jer te ne želim obeshrabriti, ili možda ne želim obeshrabriti sebe. U mojoj glavi to ponekad ne izdrživ scenarij, jer ako riječi samo prolaze, to znači da nisu bitne, a ako riječi nisu bitne, onda ih i ne treba ispisivati, tako mislim. I pitam se zašto ih ljudi nastavljaju pisati, zašto ih nastavljam pisati ja. Upitnici su to koji mi se i sada roje u glavi, dok se ti drugi put vraćaš iz svoje sobe, noseći u ruci prijevod jedne moje prastare priče i pobjedosno uzvikuješ. Najljepše stvari su skrivene. Onda sjedneš do mene i jednim potezom otpuhneš sve one upitnike iznad moje glave, sav moj defetizam, sve moje sumnje. Jer dok čitam tvoj prijevod, shvatim da je u tom prijenosu između dva jezika nastala neka sasvim nova priča, neka koja više nije potpuno moja, neka koja nije ni potpuno tvoja. Shvatim da poeziju volim baš zato što je neprevodiva, zato što na svakom jeziku uvijek nastaje iznova. Baš kao i moje priče, baš kao ti i ja. Okay, and the second one will also be about language. The first one was also about language. And as you know, in the English translation, often the gender gets lost, so it's lesbian, just to make it clear. I'm not sure if it's clear. I don't think it will be clear from the pronouns used. It's titled Double Negative. You can't not write about that, you told me, and from then on I no longer understood anything. All around me, all I could see was negation, naysaying negatives. I thought that perhaps the end of this last sentence should say, and after that I no longer understood nothing, and I could no longer remember what it was that I couldn't not write about, probably about something impossible, which isn't possible anyway. And so you were laughing at my suffering because you know very well that to me double negation is the terra incognita of Croatian language. I was panicking, trying to calculate how the two negatives in your sentence could form something positive, something affirmative, something different and understandable to me. Just like two minuses make a plus, I thought two no's might yield one yes, in which case your sentence might say, you can write about that. But then I remembered I had the same thought when I was trying to translate the sentence "no one did nothing, nowhere, never" into something with fewer negatives, and the end result was me returning the play containing that sentence to the second-hand bookshop the same afternoon, because I had spent the afternoon trying to decipher what the author literally meant. I thought I understood the play on the first reading, but when I realized it was teeming with negatives, its unreadability suddenly became unbearable. Suddenly it was incomprehensible, and I could not return it to where it had come from, together with the containing book. Same happens when someone uses too many negatives in my company. Even just two will do it. Because of course, as well as double negatives, there are multiple negatives, and of course, language isn't maths, so sentences cannot be solved like equations, and so my calculations always result in non-meaning, in nonsense. And so, whenever someone uses a double negative, I immediately feel like I'm walking on thin ice that any moment now might give away beneath me. Usually, I just pretend I didn't hear what was said, hoping someone might jump in and translate the sentence for me. This hell called double negatives actually started long ago when you and I had just met. It was almost the end of us, when we weren't even us yet, and thanks to double negatives, almost never became us to begin with. It is unbelievable to me that two little no's almost demolished everything we had built. But when you said at the airport, "I don't want to not see you," you knocked the wind out of me. I didn't know whether you were incorrigibly romantic or had just said goodbye. Instead of answering, I just laughed and spent the following week ruminating on what you had said. She loves me not, was going through my head. And even though I am in principle against violence of any kind, I started to wish double negatives would be banned from the Croatian language. Fortunately, you solved the dilemma yourself on your return when you asked me, knowing full well I had problems with logical equations, which part of me not wanting not to see you did you not understand? And I answered frankly, all of it. When I understood what you had intended to say, I breathed a sigh of relief. Yet it has made me doubly allergic to double negatives, and you, though aware of this, or perhaps because of it, give me a puzzle at regular intervals, convinced that one day I will triumph, that I can go on not knowing what neither yes nor no really means. And so it was on this day you told me I cannot not write about that. And I, after the shock subsided, finally realized that not understanding something was not a reason not to sit down and turn that incomprehension into a story. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who would like to read? Yes? No? If not, I will finish with one poem to relax the atmosphere, and I will ask Milan to read the English translation. It's a poem which at the start is also difficult to translate. It's in Slovenian "Moji fantje so moji psi," which means can mean, so one meaning is my boys are my dog, my boyfriends are my dogs, or in Slovenian you can understand also my dogs are my boyfriends. But in English it's not possible to do this, so we decided for one solution. Moji fantje so moji psi, delajo se neumno in mahajo z repom, kar naprej se ližejo po tiču. Ko stignem roko, da bi jih pobožal, se umaknejo. Potem se prikavijo v posteljo in se stiskajo k meni. Če se jim umikam, mi sledijo, drgnejo se ob me in me čudno gledajo. Sosed na terasi v 20. nadstropju sprehaja pse, meče jim kost, da tekajo za njo. Jaz svojim v sobi dajem jesti, piti, poslušam njihovo butasto godrnjanje ali praskanje, ko jih zapustim, da si vsaj malo oddahnem. Menda tulijo in zavijajo, ko me ni. A če jih v parku spustim, povsem podivjajo in se razbežijo naokrog. Čakam jih ure in ure. Upehani, umazani se mi priplazijo pred noge, ko sedim na klopi, berem brezupno knjigo o človeški zgodovini in se delam, da jih ne opazim. Čisto tiho ležijo tam, moji fantje, čakajo, da jih privežem, da se vrnejo nazaj v našo posteljo, da me ližejo, ovohavajo, da mi jasnih oči govorijo, da ne rabim nikogar drugega več.
I think it's very appropriate that we finish the evening with one of Brane's poems. As he said, it's called "My Dogs Are My Boyfriends." My dogs are my boyfriends. They play dumb and wag their tails. They keep licking their dicks. When I reach out to caress them, they move away and out of the way, then sneak into my bed and snuggle close. If I pull away, they follow, rub against me, and look at me in surprise. My neighbor walks his dogs on the terrace up on the 20th floor. He tosses a bone, and then they run after it. I feed mine indoors, give them water, listen to their silly grumbling or scratching when I withdraw for a brief respite. Apparently they howl and bay when I'm not there. But if I let them loose in the park, they go completely wild and run off. I wait for them for hours. Panting, filthy, they come crawling to my feet as I sit on a bench, reading some hopeless book about the history of humankind and pretending not to see them. They lie there perfectly still, my boys, waiting to be leashed, to return to our bed, to lick me, sniff me, tell me bright-eyed, I don't need anyone else.